Hi guys, I hope you're all okay out there in YouTube land. I had a request a little while ago when I was recording the pieces for the Trinity exam syllabus for drum kit to record the styles that the examiner will perform when doing the unpitched oral tests in the exam. So here it is. I'm going to demonstrate the different styles that you're required to know for each grade in the hope that it will help some of you when you're preparing for your exam. So when you're going for your grade 1 exam, you need to know 3 styles of music, the first being a straight eighths feel. A straight eighths feel is just eighth notes on the hi-hat, simple rock beat, like this. The next one you have to know is the basic Latin feel. It tends to be played on the bell, the ride, or a cowbell if one is available. And it'll sound something like this. With the Latin feel, you're basically trying to replicate the sounds in Latin American music, which tends to be not drum kit in the first instance, it tends to be percussion. So if it's got the sound of a cross stick and tom-toms and the bell of the cymbal or a cowbell, you're on the right path if you say a Latin feel. But it will sound something like this. And the third and final one for grade 1 is a 3-4 feel. So you're listening out for the 3 pulses in the music. 1, 2, 3, something like this. Moving on to grade 2, you still need to know the ones for grade 1 because the examiner will often throw in an example from a previous grade just to check you've done your homework. So you still need to know the grade 1s, but the grade 2 they throw in 2 new styles, one being a 12/8 feel, which is kind of a blues sounding rhythm. It will go 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1. And they'll also throw in a 2/4 march. Obviously, they're polar opposites, the 12/8 feel and the 2/4 march. So if you are going for grade 2 and if the examiner chooses a grade 2 example, really, you're not going to get the 2 confused. So a 2/4 march sounds something like this. 2 beats in a bar, 1, 2, 1, 2. Moving on to grade 3. We're adding in another couple of styles, one being the rumba, and the example that's given in the book is snares off, and it sounds something like this. And then we've got the indie rock style. It's not really what I would call an indie beat, but it's a quarter note kind of feel. A driving straight ahead rock beat in my opinion, but it's called the indie rock feel. Moving on to grade 4, we have got the bossa nova, which will sound something like this. This is the sort of standard bossa nova we've got used to calling a bossa nova. However, its rhythm is taken from the partido alto rhythm, which is something more like this. But it will probably sound something more like this when the examiner plays it. Moving on from the bossa nova, we've got the shuffle. Normally written with either a triplet feel or a 12/8 feel, and this one will sound like eighth notes but bouncy eighth notes. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one is the show 2 feel. 2 feel because it's counted very fast. It's instead of a 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, we've got more of a 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. The example I always give to my pupils is the Muppet Show theme tune. So so on. So 1 2 1 2 1 2. Something like that. Next one, and the final one for grade 4, is the reggae feel. You're listening out for the strong pulse on the 3. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Moving on to grade 5, we have a swing feel. It's the style of music is jazz, so swing is what they're after in terms of an answer, but it's jazz. And if you've heard jazz before, again with pupils, I would say, have you heard the theme tune to the Pink Panther? So 1 2 1 2 3. Easily confused, but if you listen out for the 3 pulse, it's the jazz waltz, which is the next one. The jazz waltz is swing, or jazz, but in 3. A 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Moving on from the jazz waltz, we have the tango, ballroom style. Sounds very distinctive. Don't get it confused with a march. Some people, for me at least, have said it's the 2/4 march when this example's been given, but it's unlikely if you're going for grade 5, to be honest, that a grade 2 example would be used in the exam, but never say never. So the tango sounds a little bit like this. And then the final example for grade 5 is a disco feel. The distinctive thing about the disco is the opening and closing of the hi-hat, what some people describe as the boots and cats and boots and cats, that type of thing. So it goes 1 2 3 4. Moving on to grade 6, we've got funk. Funk is a heavily syncopated rhythm, and it will sound something like this. You've then got the samba. So the samba pattern sounds something like this. And then finally, the 6/8 Afro-Cuban feel. Incidentally, when you're giving your answers, it's always best to give the full answer. If you just said Afro-Cuban, you could be at risk of only giving half the answer. So 6/8 Afro-Cuban. And the same goes for all the others. Say the complete word, just to make sure. So the 6/8 Afro-Cuban goes something like this. Grade 7, only one extra rhythm is added, and that is that of the mambo, which sounds something like this. I didn't do that particularly well, I'm going to do that again. And then finally, at grade 8, we've got the New Orleans second line feel. It's kind of got a shuffle feel to it, but it's kind of straight as well. It's somewhere in the middle, and it sounds something like this. And there we have it. There's your styles for the Trinity Unpitched Aural tests.